Hello and welcome to this short, sweet Yin Yoga practice where we'll be focusing on the metal element. It's a practice of very much about letting go whilst you're in the postures, letting go of perhaps something that might be holding you back, and of course letting go of stagnant energy that is in your body. We're going to be focusing on a couple of meridian lines, a yin and a yang, and a yin meridian line will be the lung channel, which runs down the medial side of your arm and finishes at the thumb tip, and then the large intestine, which runs at the index finger up the outside of the arm, and it finishes around just underneath your nose tip. So we're going to need some props, or a particular prop in general. We're going to need a block. If you don't have a block, then by all means grab a book or a couple of books. Pillows, bolsters are great. Once you get those, come back to a seated position, ensuring that you raise your hips off the floor, just so the energy flows, and it also helps with the breathing as well. And very gently close your eyes and just resting your hands in your lap or on your knees. So we're focusing on the breath. And you notice the breath moving in and out of your body. And as you breathe in through the nose, notice the breath dispelling the air as it enters your body at the nose tip. Then equally on the exhalation, notice the breath expelling the air once again on the exhalation as you let go. Keep visualizing this. And as you get into a rhythm, just allow the sit bones to land a little bit more. Shoulders are rolling away from the ears, softening into the body. And then let that little practice go, and inhaling in through the nose, open mouth sigh, and again, once more, coming back to your natural breath. And just set your intention for how you want to practice today. And then when you're ready, very gently open your eyes. All right, so let's get started. I've got a block here, but by all means, you can just, as I said, you can grab some books. I'm going to place it at the top of the mat, and we're going to start this sequence lying on the back. So if you've got a block, you can put it on either one or two settings. It'll be the middle setting or the lower setting. You're placing the block just at the base of your skull, if you're in the upright setting. And you'll find that sweet spot. And you might need to adjust it several times until you do find it. And then we're very gently just rocking from side to side. Now this is a wonderful practice for letting go of tension in the neck. And a lot of us hold tension there, and then that goes right through to your face and filters out to the rest of the body. But by rocking from side to side, we're helping release that tension. Now if you find a little spot that feels a bit gnarly, by all means pause there, and then perhaps start to do some little rocks on that spot. I always seem to find a particular place. I do this practice quite a lot. So we're not here for much longer. Then find that sweet spot and pause, focusing on the breath and focusing on the exhalation. Last deep inhale. Open mouth sigh. And very gently, just making your way up. And you're going to come onto all fours. Just going to place the block off to the side. May need that a little bit later on. So if this first posture, you're coming into a wide leg child's pose. So the toes are traditionally touching, but if that doesn't work for you, that's fine. You can place something under your knees, or you can place perhaps a blanket underneath your thighs and calves just to give you a bit more support. So we're coming into the wide leg child's pose. Not here for long, but we're going to do some variations on this. So the head comes close to the ground. That might not work for you. This is where the books or the props might help a little bit support your head. I'm going to thread that right arm under. I'm going to place that head on the floor. So it can be the forehead, or you can twist it to the left or the right. If you do the twist of the head, just got to remember where it is when we come onto the other side. I'm just coming up a little bit higher, just to make it a little bit easier for you to hear me. So as we thread this through the left armpit, we are now compressing the large intestine and lung meridian channels. And as you come out, you may feel a little bit of a rush of blood, or could be even energy if you sense it, and that's perfectly normal. So this is a particular practice I've been doing a lot over the last, I would say, 4 months, and it's become a practice that I've grown to really love. Don't often hear, people don't often teach a class around the middle element, and I'm not sure why. I just think it's maybe it's just a little bit hard to navigate. So just keep breathing in and out through your nose. All right, last long deep inhale. Open mouth sigh. And we're going to go straight on to the other side, so just unraveling yourself. Both arms are facing forward. This time we're threading the left arm underneath the right armpit. So if you had your head twisted to a particular side, just ensure that you twist it to the other side now. Keep focusing on the breath. Notice the exhalations. And the middle element is associated with autumn. And as we said, the lung and the large intestine. There's also a colour of white. And there's also a sound. And you can do these practices at any time. You don't have to be specific about what season you're in. We all hold all the seasons within us. And as we traverse through the day, our bodies will be connecting to each of those elements. Breathing in and out. Nice long deep inhales and exhales. Alright, so give yourself one last inhalation in this shape. Exhaling out and just coming down to a closed leg child's pose. So knees come together, they don't have to be touching, but a little bit closer together. We're only here for about a minute, and then just coming down. You may need that block again underneath your forehead. Arms come beside you, palms are facing up. And once again, I'm just keeping my head off the floor. And notice if you feel any sensations here. Was there a bit of a rush of blood? And if it was nothing, that's okay too. Yin's always about just checking in with the sensations. Last long deep inhale. Open mouth sigh. Then very gently, I'm going to swing around here just to make it a little bit easier. Just making your way into a Sphinx pose. So there's many different options in Sphinx pose. Traditionally, you would have the elbows just underneath the shoulders. Middle two fingers would be pointing forward, and that's where you would stay. But the great thing about Yin is there's so many options. You can have your hands together. You can interlace the fingers. You can cross the arms underneath you to give yourself a little bit more support if you've got a back injury. You can even use a bolster and slide that under you. Personally, I really like hands in prayer, and putting your legs out quite wide. I'm finding that really lovely. They're called crocodile legs. So you find your sweet spot. I'm going to be here for several minutes. And then just dropping your head down ever so slightly, making sure that your shoulders are rolling away from your ears, from your ears. And start to breathe in deeply. Notice the belly connecting with the floor, with the inhalations, and slowly, and the exhalations too. So inhaling, belly expands. Exhaling, belly retracts, and you might have a little black cat walking underneath you too. His name's Java. He's my little mate. And the story about him is that he's a rescue cat, and when I got him home and I put out the yoga mat, he's always been there. And that's our little friendship and our mateship. He's a really great little guy. Just keep coming back to that breath. Noticing those exhalations. Now you can stay in your Sphinx pose, but if you'd like something a little bit stronger, we're going to move into a shape called seal pose. So with seal pose, your hands are out to the side, as like a seal shape, flippers, and you're just lifting those elbows off the floor. Now this can be quite strong, but you can actually go a little bit deeper here by sliding the hands in a little bit closer to you, then raising up. That's not with my practice today. I'm finding something a little bit less. And incidentally, there's no benefit of going stronger. What we're looking for in Yin Yoga is an edge. And that can be anywhere between 65 and 75% of where you can go. We're not looking for pain in any form of yoga. Uncomfortable is fine. So you find your edge. If you've gone too far, you back off. If you feel like you need a little bit more, you add on. Finding that still place, finding the breath, and just let everything go. All right, last long deep inhale in your Sphinx shape. Open mouth eye. Very gently. Just coming back onto your forearms. And then from here we're going to come into a pose called Wisdom Pose. So there's a couple of options in Wisdom Pose. Some people call it palm pillow. Depends on the tradition that you learnt yoga from. So you can have palm on top of palm, or you can actually reverse it so that the backs of the hands, or the hand is on the yoga mat, and you can place your forehead in that. I'm quite liking this one at the moment. I used to do this many years ago, and I've gone back to it of late. So find your sweet spot. So there's a sound associated with the metal element, and it's shh. So it's S, 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 S. And you can liken it to the metal element, to perhaps hot metal getting cooled down in water, and it'll make that sizzling sound. So traditionally we would do this practice 5 times, and that's what we're going to do today. But if this doesn't resonate you with a sound, you can just perhaps connect with your breath, breathing deeply, and imagine what that sound is. So together, in Wisdom Pose, inhaling in, and and again, and do that 3 more times in your own time. When you finish, just coming back to your natural breath. And just gift yourself one last long inhalation in your wisdom shape. Open mouth eye. Now from here we're just going to do a little different shape. Don't often do this one, but I quite like it. It's called crisscross arms. You're just placing your arms underneath, so the right arm will go underneath the left shoulder and the left arm will go over the top. Doesn't really matter which way you go. You may need a prop underneath your head. Give yourself a little bit of a wiggle to find that sweet spot with this shape. Always nice having a little bit of wiggle in every shape. It helps you land. And then very gently bowing your forehead down to the floor. keep coming back to the breath. Keep noticing those exhalations. There's my little mate back again. All right, last long inhale. Open mouth, cruisy sigh. Move very gently. Well, before you unravel yourself, I'm going to make your way onto the back. So just keeping the right arm where it is and just rolling over onto your back, bending the knees. I just got to move my little mate off to the side. Arms are out to the side, knees are bent out to the edges of the mat. And we're going to do some of those classic windscreen wipers from side to side. So knees drop to the right, and inhaling, coming up, exhaling to the left. Now, with your head, it doesn't really matter where you put your head. You can keep it neutral or you can move it to the opposite side. It's really up to you. And the next time you come to the right, just dropping the knees down. If you've got some stronger versions of this, for instance, placing your right foot on your left knee, by all means do so. That's just an option. Twists are great. They're one of the most wonderful things in yoga, and they really help release and rinse. And given this is about letting go, this can really help with obviously internal organs, because we're rinsing these internal organs here, but also what happens in the mind. Last deep inhale, open mouth sigh, bring your knees back up to center. You may need to adjust your hips, then drop them over to the left side. If you took that stronger version where you're going to place your foot on top of your knee, then do the same on this side. It's interesting here at the moment, we're really in a seasonal change, and you can feel the shift from one season to the next. And I quite like it because some days are really quite warm and other days are quite cold. And it's interesting because we're coming into summer here and watching the trees coming back to life and letting go they're being dormant in winter. All right, last long deep inhale, back to center, the exhalation, adjusting the hips and then bringing your knees up. Just doing some small rotations in one direction and then the other. Now there's a couple of options. We can come into happy baby for the next posture, or you can come into hanging back, and I'll give a demonstration of both. So happy baby, hands can be on the outside of the foot. They can also be in. If that's very difficult, you can
actually have them behind your calves or your thighs. And another option here is hanging back, and this is an Australian posture. So it's butterfly pose, knees are off the floor, feet are touching, and you're grasping just above your ankles. You're lifting the head up, and you're hanging out here in hanging bat. Now this can be quite strong, so you can stay here for a little while, and then you can use the exhalation just to come back down onto the floor. Connecting with the breath, noticing the exhalations. The mind's wandering, continually bring it back to the breath. And also congratulate yourself if you notice. Last deep inhale. Open, now sigh. Just very gently unraveling yourself. And just coming into a small Shavasana. And just let everything settle. So you're lying on your back, arms are out to the side, palms facing upwards, feet are flopping out to the sides. Giving yourself a little bit of a wiggle. And just having a moment here. So just taking a deeper than normal breath in, open mouth sigh. Bringing some small movements to your toes and fingers. Just noticing what's happening around you. What are you hearing? Close by or in the distance. Notice where you're positioned, in a room or outside. And bringing your awareness back to where you are. And then bringing your knees up to your chest, doing small rotations in each direction just to release the back. Then rolling over to one side, ensuring that you support your head with your arm and have a moment. And then very gently making your way up into a seated position, just keeping your eyes closed or downcast. Bringing your hands into Anjali, looks like prayer, an offering mudra. And we'll close the class out with a traditional Om. So inhaling in, we'll go straight to the Om. And gently bowing forehead to fingertips as we say Namaste. And very gently open your eyes. Well, hopefully you enjoyed that. I'm going to do a lot more of those. Enjoy wherever you're at, and I will see you next on the mat. Hopefully my little mate Java will be here too. So until then, bye for now.